This video is sponsored by JobHib International. JobHib helps students in Australia to solve visa and permanent residency issues. JobHib also helps students in Africa, especially in Nigeria, to enroll and study in Australia. Visit JobHib's website, www.jobhib.com. Welcome to the Shirati Report. I'm Claude Shirati. Thank you very much for watching this video. The debate on same-sex marriage is obviously raging in Australia. The Australian society seems to be fractured when it comes to this issue. On the one hand, you have the LGBTI community and their supporters who are wanting to have the same rights as non-LGBTI when it comes to marriage. On the other hand, you have people who do not want to see the definition of marriage change in any way. So politicians are divided, and so is the Australian society. Where do you stand on this one? What is the view of the African Australian community? I know it's a community and you can't expect people to speak in the same way, but what do you think as an African Australian person? Obviously, AMA caters primarily for the African Australian audiences, and we want to hear your view. Your views are important. As an African Australian individual and someone who's worked extensively in community advocacy circles, I have a bit of a picture on where the community is standing on this one. I believe the majority of African Australians do not support same-sex marriage. And that is mostly because many of them come from very conservative backgrounds, usually because of their religion, either Christian or Muslims. And it is actually the case for many multicultural communities, many people in these communities, as it has been indicated through a variety of polls, do not seem to support same-sex marriage. But it will also be a dishonesty for me to come here and say that everyone in the African Australian community does not support same-sex marriage. Anecdotal evidence appear to suggest that most African Australians do not support same-sex marriage, but there are many people within these communities who still do. The problem that I have is with our leaders. Our leaders are not talking about this. I would want to see more of our leaders discuss this issue. It is an important issue for most of us. It is something that should be debated. Our leaders, both in community groups as well as in churches or mosques, do not seem to be talking about this publicly. They appear to be afraid, for some reason, to voice their opinions. Privately, most of them, those that I've had an opportunity to communicate with, because I did a quick poll or survey in relation to this issue using the contact that I had, many of them have come back and say they do not support same-sex marriage or anything that has to do with homosexuality, but they do understand that we live in a pluralistic and diverse society and everyone has a place. What is the reason why our leaders are actually not talking publicly? Is it fear of retribution, fear of not getting funding, or is it that they don't want to be seen divisive, or is it that they just don't know how to deal with this issue publicly? I am assuming, and I have to emphasize this, I am assuming that many of our leaders are not talking because they are afraid. They don't want to be seen as homophobic, or they don't want to reduce their chances of getting funding for their community or their project. And that is mostly, in my view, what is happening. But I would love to be proven wrong, obviously. There are others who are staying silent simply because they do not know how to deal with this issue. What's the best way of tackling it and not being seen as homophobic or backwards or any of these adjectives that you often hear from the LGBTI supporters. I guess it is important for those who call themselves leaders of the community not to be silent on such an important matter. The whole community must participate in this debate and be able to, I suppose, express our views without fear, but with civility, with sensitivity, respect, and understanding. Australia is obviously a democratic society, and no one should fear expressing their views. But everyone must be respectful of others. I know that people in the LGBTI community and their supporters are quite aggressive and react very emotionally whenever they hear, read, or see something different from what they think on this issue. I have experienced some of that. I've also seen, on the other hand, people who disagree with the LGBTI agenda to use very hurtful and disrespectful words, so to speak. So both sides of this need to, I suppose, put a little bit of water in the wine and let's have a sensible discussion. I hear politicians talk about all sort of things, but Australia can have a respectful discussion on this topic. The key for me is to strike a balance between your own right to express your views and the need to show respect for the people you disagree with. It is simple as that. You should not be intimidated to speak against or for same-sex marriage. You should not stay silent either. Yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to. So what do you think? Do you support same-sex marriage? Do you not support it? Do not be afraid. Say what you think. Here at Africa Media Australia, we'd like to hear from you. Think, comment, and share this video. And let us have a bit of a discussion on this matter. Until next time, stay blessed. This video is sponsored by JobHib International. JobHib helps students in Australia to solve visa and permanent residency issues. JobHib also helps students in Africa, especially in Nigeria, to enroll and study in Australia. Visit JobHib's website, www.jobhib.com.